Simakade Zulu is set to be exploring legal options after Supreme Court of Appeal ruling affirmed King Mrs. Zulu Kazwelithini as the rightful monarch of the Zulu nation. The faction says the matter is not yet over. It says it's looking into possibly approaching the Constitutional Court. Princess Simakade Zulu's spokesperson, Prince Thokozani Zulu, addressed the media earlier. Sletwe Ndlovu has more details on this briefing and joins us live. Sletwe, good to catch up with you. Just bring us up to speed with what came out of that briefing earlier.
Well, at this point, Hugo, one of the biggest remarks that was made during the briefing was that there's a possibility, a huge possibility, that the Constitutional Court will be approached when you are looking at the matter that is at hand. But I'm going to bring in now Prince Thokozani Zulu, who's going to elaborate on that point that was made during the briefing. Prince, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I just want to start off by speaking about a point that you made during the briefing, where you stated that the decision or the judgment that has been made by the Supreme Court of Appeal is the end to the Zulu nation. Perhaps just to elaborate on that point.
That's not true. I think it's an attempt to hoodwink the Zulu nation and to nudge us towards an undesired direction, because as a matter of fact, the Constitutional Court is the apex court in our country, and therefore you can't say that once the Supreme Court of Appeal has handed down a judgment and say that then becomes the end of the road. It's not true.
I want to speak about your reaction in terms of the judgment. Are you surprised at all by the judgment that was made by the Supreme Court of Appeal?
Well, one wouldn't say we were surprised, because having regard to the approach regarding the identification meeting, though we had expected that the matter would be reverted back to the Section 8 committee in order to allow all the different sections of the Zulu royal family to make both oral and written representations before the committee, for the committee to then investigate in terms of the law.
Of course, you did state that there is a possibility at this point where the Constitutional Court is going to be approached on the matter, and that the ruling that was made by the Supreme Court of Appeal is not the end.
Absolutely. It's not a possibility, but what we did indicate is that there are a number of options open to His Majesty Uzonda Makwala, and the Constitutional Court is one of them. We still await the final legal advice from His Majesty's legal practitioners.
I want to talk about the Zulu nation. Do you feel perhaps, or does the Prince Simakade, feel that the back and forth between the two factions does impact the Zulu nation or puts the Zulu nation in a precarious position?
Yes, indeed. The Zulu nation is in a precarious position, and that would have to appreciate by how the public has generally accepted the outcome. You know, there is no euphoria in the social media, and that is an indication enough that the Zulu nation are not happy, having regard to the manner in which the issue of the identification was conducted. In fact, it's a serious assault on the culture of the Zulu people, let alone the Zulu royal family, because it suggests that in any ubukhosi namakhosi akhona la KwaZulu Natal, a prime minister, a traditional prime minister, would then take over, usurp the powers of that particular royal family to identify an heir. But also it's a serious problem for the Zulu nation, having regard to a number of aberrations that we have observed from how Indlela Meti conducts himself, the latest being his trip to Dubai, where he went there all by himself. And it's not funny that even his adherents, are dismayed by that fact. And you are told he's gone there to sign certain things, unbeknown even to his inner court.
I want to speak about how this faction of the family would be satisfied. What would bring peace to the family, or rather, how does the family, the Zulu royal family, have peace? How do you find common ground?
In fact, we are not factions. We are sections of the Zulu royal family that are holding opposing views on how the whole issue of the kingship was conducted from inception. We believe that there has to be preconditions for true peace, for lasting peace. But if we want to engage the issue under false pretenses, there'll definitely be no peace. We have to convene under one roof and engage fundamental issues relating to this issue. And that becomes, for us, a roadmap to true peace.
Prince Thokozani Zulu, I am out of time, but just one word. Has the Prince Simakade, been invited to the engagement that's taking place on the 29th?
Ngonyama, Uzonda Makwala, has not been invited. And it becomes ironic that you have two principal actors and you don't invite the other, but you purport that the process relates to causing the two opposing sections to converge.
Prince, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. That's Prince Thokozani Zulu there, firstly stating that they are not factions, as he stated, but just different sections, perhaps, of the Zulu royal family. But also, we know that there is an engagement that's meant to take place on the 29th of October, where he does state that Prince Simakade, at this point, it doesn't seem as if he has received any invitation. But coming from the briefing that was held here today, we did, or rather we were told that the Constitutional Court will indeed be approached when you are looking at the matter at hand.